Okay, here we go. We're recording now. So I just want to welcome all of you chatterboxes. I can see that there's conversation happening, like they responded in the chat, but everybody's like really mute at the moment. If you've got questions, you can put your hand up as well if you know how to use that option in Zoom, and I will come to you. If you want to pop any questions in the chat, feel free. If you're watching the replay, just make some notes and you can send them through to me later. No problem at all. So I'm Rosie Shiloh. Today I'm going to be talking to you about launching a virtual assistant business without the most frustrating things in the world, which is wasting your time, your effort, and your money, which is what you have the least of to get you started in your business. And we want to make sure that they are respected. So that's why I don't want to drag this out too long. But I do love questions. So please pipe up with those. So what I'm trying to do is work with VAs who want to have a really clear plan moving forward and have strong foundations. I've seen a lot of situations where VAs have started and they're kind of flying by the seat of their pants. Sometimes they're thrown into a situation and their foundations get left till later, and it's actually a really awkward way to set up your business. So I want to be working with people who want to set themselves up right from the start and feel like they've got a structure moving themselves forward, because each and every one of you has a unique offering, a unique way of delivering things, a unique type of people that you're going to want to work with. So your structure will be completely unique to you. And so the one thing that you can have in common is a bit of a strategy on how to approach the different elements of setting yourself up in a business. And I'm super passionate about people loving what they do in business, because business can be really hard. Jobs can be really hard, but business can be really hard, and a lot of businesses don't survive beyond 2 years. And I think one of the main factors there is not loving what you do, because if you don't love what you do and the type of people that you want to work with, when the going gets tough, there's nothing there that's going to kind of help you get up each morning and keep chipping away at those tasks. And it can be really tough sometimes. So I don't want to sugarcoat it. I want to prepare you for that, but make sure that when you're setting yourself up, we start thinking about how can we actually make it so that it's something that excites me and invigorates me. The other thing too, and this is something I was talking to Amber about earlier, is about being taken seriously as a business owner, and your pricing is part of that. So how you present to the world, how you communicate what your offering is, the pain that you ease, who you communicate with, and how you price yourself, they're all going to impact how seriously you are taken in business. And I'm just going to start off right now. If you're charging less than 40 an hour in Australia, it's going to be hard. It is going to be hard for you to do the things you need to do in your business. And I'll go through this a little bit later. If I forget, pull me up and I will go through it further with you. It's hard to do the things that you need to do to keep your business thriving and alive. Okay. The other thing is knowing what to say so that the right clients aren't ghosting you, and so that you're not marketing to everyone and their cat and dog and hoping that someone kind of goes, oh, maybe you could help me out for $5 an hour. Like, that's not how you want to be spending your day. You want to actually be able to say the right key things that will resonate with the people that you can solve problems for and who are your type of people. So there's two factors there. I want you to feel confident about who you can support and how you can support them. One of the things that I don't offer training for in Virtually Yours, we have a lot of webinars with different topics and subjects and whatnot, but I don't teach you the skills that you're going to be bringing to the table for your business. I teach you how to turn your skills into a business and how to market that to the right audience. But you need to have the skills, or be able to identify what skills you want to now go and learn to fill those gaps. Okay, so that's going to really impact how confident you feel about who you can support. And that's something that I'm always happy to chat to people about, okay? Because it can be a little bit full on, right? Now, if you don't like free content and you don't like my gorgeous offer that I'm going to make for you tonight, then you can all bugger off. So I will tell you tonight about the Stellar Virtual Business course. And what we will do is I won't just go, hey, I've got a course and you can save money on that course. What I'm going to do is run through what the model is that we're using that course. So if you don't want to have support going through those steps, you'll still know what the sequence is. So you'll know, top level these are the things that I need to address in my business, and this is the sequence that's best going to support me to do that. And then if you do want to do the training and you want to have extra support to do that, for people who take action quickly, you get to save $350, which is 20%. Okay, so I want to introduce you to my buddy Glenda. Glenda is an avatar that I've created, and she kind of represents a lot of new VAs who are out there. You're not necessarily going to tick all of these boxes, but you might tick some. And I'd love you to let me know in the chat if any of these resonate with you, or if you feel like maybe these are kind of things that you're doing or things that you're seeing people do. So people who are like Glenda, they respond to all of the Facebook posts asking for VA help. All right, so if they see someone in a group like-minded bitches, or even the VAs of Australia Facebook group saying, hey, I need help with someone, Glenda is going to say me, whether she knows the details or not. Glenda's also offering general admin to everybody. Her target market is small business owners or even women in business, which is my pet hate when people think that that's a target market. It's too broad. It's, women in business is half of the business population. So it's too much. So Glenda spends a lot of time researching all of the tech that might be needed, because she's kind of freaking out that she needs to know all of the tech. Because when you start, and you might see this if you're in the VAs of Australia Facebook group, you'll see people talking about different software programs, and it'll sound like they know all of the programs. But each VA will know a handful of programs really well. And the ones who are really mad on CRMs, so your client, CRMs, client relationship management software, they'll know a bunch of those, but they're not going to necessarily know about the podcast software or the different bookkeeping software programs that are out there. They're going to know the area that they need to know. And I want you to not think that you need to know all the things. There's going to be new programs created and distributed tomorrow, and you cannot keep up with them all the time. And I don't want you to think that you need to. So Glenda also hears crickets when she responds to leads. She's not getting bites. People are saying, not happening. And she's trying to do all the things and getting nowhere. So does anyone resonate with any of those? Or are you all smashing it out the park? If you can pop in the chat if any of those are kind of things that you're feeling like. And this is a safe space. Only people who registered for this webinar will get to see the webinar. It will be not loaded anywhere else. So let me know if you, so I've been overwhelmed thinking I need to know all the things. I like that. Futures is just like, yes. Exactly. And sometimes it does. It feels like all the things. And these are things that I felt when I started my business as well. But I've been in business a long time and I still see it all the time. Kat, that's you. Yep. Fair enough. So what I want to introduce, Lisa, yeah, beautiful, is I want to introduce you to Stella. Stella's the superstar. Bernie, yep, you're on the Glenda list as well. Stella's where I want you to go in your business and how I want you to feel in your business. I'm going to take you from Glenda to Stella. So Stella has a clear offering. How nice does that feel? It's like tingly. Clear offering for a specific client who loves them, and Amber loves their price. Okay, and doesn't bat an eyelid when they say what their price is. It just is, right? Their onboarding process is clear and it's repeatable as well. It does all the things that take a client from, okay, I think I have this pain point. I believe you might be able to help me with it. And it takes them the whole way through filling those gaps in information that client needs to feel supported and willing to let you in to see the background of their business. I call it your business undies. Letting someone in to see your biz undies is terrifying, because what we put out there to the world about our business is that it's schmick, man. It's brilliant. It's working beautifully. But the reality is every business is going to have areas that are messy and clunky. And this is awesome for you, because we want them to have areas that they're not spending too much time on, because they need to be focusing on what they do best. And then they can bring you in to support them. So it's never going to be pretty. And they've got to actually get past themselves to let you in to see that. That is the catch with the service that you offer. Now, Stella's also mapped out and implemented the steps required. And so she knows exactly who what the skills are she has, what the pain point is that she eases, who has that pain point, how they find her, how they communicate, how they want to be supported, what their price point is, all of those things. She knows that stuff. And that will give you a head start getting out there and marketing your business. Marketing your business is always a challenge, no matter where you're at. So making sure that you've got these things in place will definitely put you ahead of the pack. Who wants to be a Stella? Yeah? Yeah. She rocks, huh? I love Stella. I love both of their hairdos, but I love Stella more. Okay, let me tell you a bit about me so that you know who the heck is talking at you this afternoon. Oh my God, I don't even know what time of the day it is. For those of you playing at home, it's night. And I just listed off every other time that I could have. So I have been running Virtually Yours now for 19 years. And so when I started up, things were very, very different to how they are now. But at the end of the day, the problems that I had when I started up, very, very similar to anyone who's starting up now. There's added elements for you guys though. One, you don't have to worry about dial-up internet. So hats off to you for that, because that sucked. That totally sucked. I remember times where I was like, all right, everyone, get off the phones. I'm emailing a photo. Okay, this is going to take 45 minutes. And if someone rings, I have to start again. Okay, so we don't even have to think about that now. Please praise the Lord for that. But the amount of technology and software programs and service offerings that is in front of you now is probably 100 times more, so much more, which is awesome because there's so much more you can offer, but also potentially terrifying. Yeah. So I ran Virtually Yours since 2004. I started off as a VA and I quickly decided, you know what? I'm all about community. My background is in disability. My job was all about reducing social isolation. I didn't realize it then, but that is completely my jam. So when I started working from home, I just started putting the feelers out and connecting with people who were also working alone at home. And my core thing at the moment still is helping reduce social isolation. But my main thing is to empower VAs to set themselves up in such a way that they do not get told, oh, well, that's too expensive, you shouldn't be charging that. Or they don't get told, well, I'm going to be contacting you at 7 a.m. in the morning and I want you to be replying to me by 7:10 a.m. in the morning and crap like that. Now, you will, over the time, you will meet people who will try to do stuff like that, but you'll be so set up that you will laugh and you will go, that's lovely, catch you later. Okay, because you'll know that that's actually not okay. There's a lot of things that clients will try on with you that you, if you are not in a position of confidence, that you may let slip through because you're like, well, you know, I need this. And I want to empower you so that you don't fall for that. Because when clients like that get away with that, they will push further and further. And that's going to just absolutely eat away at your confidence. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to lose faith in what you're offering, and it all goes downhill from there. Okay, so it's all about being confident in what you want to do. So I was really tired of seeing women struggle to be heard. I had, as some of you have seen in the posts that I've done in the last week, so frustrated that the same issues are happening now that happened when I started up. Now, we didn't have the same social media platforms in 2004 that we have now. So it's much easier to get angry and get vocal about it and to say to business owners, because I've written a couple of blog posts as well that actually call them out and say what you're offering people to support you in your business is peanuts, yet you want them to take you higher and you want to then show up and charge $1,000 an hour for your glorious services, yet you're treating your team like they're not worth anything. And I'm still seeing that happen. The best thing though is that there is more of a tribe coming through who will not fall for that. They're not going to sit there and go, that's okay. They will call it out. And I want you to be part of that tribe. So as the industry has grown, as I mentioned before, everything has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. At the end of the day, the delivery is easier, but working out where you fit in is harder. Okay. So I started up the VA method, and I actually started this up when before I wrote my first book, and my first book was around the startup method. And what we do in that is we actually just initially, and I'll work through this with you in a minute, we look at who you are, we look at what your offering could be, we look at making sure that the foundations are solid for you to then create something on top of. And when you've got those, you'll find that because you know what your offering is and you know what your target market is, and you've checked that out to make sure that that's actually viable, and then invested in your foundations, you'll find it easier to market. And if you get to a point where you're marketing and things are going really well, you'll find it easier to scale if that's what you want to do. And we'll go through that in a little bit more detail. So people were getting stuck in the initial stages, or what I had is a few people coming through my mentoring programs as well who had started off very, very quickly because an opportunity had come their way. You know, maybe an old employer or a friend of a friend had said, hey, you know, I heard that you're good at blah, blah, blah. Could you offer that to me as a contractor? And so they just jump in and they set things up for that one person, but they don't set their structures and their business up to make it so that it's repeatable and marketable. So I wanted to be able to support people who are in those two situations. So any questions? Amber, that's fine. Let me know if you've got any questions. Ooh. Okay. Yeah. So my plan is to make it so that you don't feel like lender all the time. You've got a strategy and a plan. So let's get through it. I have promised you, I'm going to talk to you about 3 top mistakes I see VAs making. So no questions? All right, cool. The first one is trying to offer all the services to all of the people because you don't want to miss out. Any of you feeling that? Yeah. Yeah. So what happens with that is, sorry, I keep pressing the button too much. We think that if we'll offer everything to everyone, we're going to get more opportunities, but it's actually super counterintuitive. People need to feel like you are the solution for them, and they need to have time to build that know, like, and trust factor. Sometimes people will buy things instantly and very quickly. That's more likely going to happen with products than services, unless you're recommended word of mouth. If it's word of mouth, some people will just go, yeah, I'm in because Barry recommended you, and that's fine. But you've got to build up, obviously, a reputation for that to happen. So when you're kind of throwing out to everyone, you know, you go to a networking event and they say, what do? You say, oh, I'm a virtual assistant. That's rookie error number 1. Virtual assistant tells people nothing. You're part of the virtual assistant industry, and underneath that is a whole lot of different services and specialties. So you need to be really clear about which one you are in that, or, you know, which small collection that you can kind of relabel is what you are. It's kind of like if someone says to you, I'm a tradie. It means that they don't actually want to tell you, they don't care enough about you as a potential customer to be specific. The tradie can be an electrician, a builder, a plumber, you know, all sorts of different people. And you don't know what they are when they say tradie, right? Same as if you say, I'm a virtual assistant and I offer business services. It's not enough. You've got to be really specific. Okay, so marketing will become really stressful because people aren't going to buy it. They're not going to know what it is that you actually solve, who you solve the problem for. Is it me? I don't know. I know I've got problems in my business, but I don't know if you get the problems that I have, because I am so unique and so special, because that's what we all think in our business. Our problem is unique and special, and it's very important to us. So you need to be able to kind of really hear them and speak their language. Does that make sense? Okay. So when we have too many options, people get confused and they can't choose. And I have this weird sort of analogy story, and it's super simple, but I used to work at Melbourne Park, where they have a lot of concerts and the tennis and all that sort of stuff in Melbourne. And I used to work at the information desk for many, many years. And one of the basic rules that we had there was if someone came up to us and asked us where the toilets were, we would never say, and they're actually in both directions. We would say, all right, what door are you at? You know, when you're going to go in. And then they would tell us, and we'll go, the door's that way, and the toilets are just past it, or the toilets are just ahead of it. Because even something as simple as that, for some people, it's like, choice. I don't need choices. Just tell me where to go, right? And I know that sounds like a really simple analogy, but even implementing that for things like that that are what you think is obvious and simple, you've actually taken away a little bit of angst for someone where they've had to unnecessarily make a decision and worry, okay, well, which way do I go? I don't know which door I'm at as well. And I don't want to ask too many questions because people can be self-conscious like that. So you just make it easy for them. Now, this is a much bigger version of that, because they're not just asking where the toilets are. They're asking, can you solve my business pain point in such a way that I will let you in to see my biz undies? Okay. All right. When we know what the problem is, so we being you, when we know what the problem is, we know who has the problem and how it can be solved, then we create one solution for them. Okay, so often we'll be saying, I can help you with anything. To sort out your business, I can help you with anything. And at the start, I know some of you will be finding your feet and seeing what sort of sticks for you, what you enjoy doing most. But I actually encourage you to, even from the start, to start playing with more specifics when you're speaking to people. And one way you can do this is if you are networking, for example, say you go to a face-to-face networking event and someone says, what do? You can say, actually, I'd love to hear what you do first, and then I'll explain what I do. Because they may turn around and say, oh, look, I'm a garden maintenance person. Or they might say, I'm a business coach, or they might say, I'm a mortgage broker. And whatever they tell you about your business, you can tailor your response to them. So if they say, I do garden maintenance or landscaping, you can say to them, okay, so do you find that, getting quotes for people in, efficiently and promptly returning those calls, getting cash flow happening, making sure people pay those bills on time, all that sort of stuff is challenging for you? Or perhaps you find getting word out about your business. So obviously, like a lot of tradies really hate social media. So, getting presence online out there or connecting with people in the community, there's some areas, and you can say this to them, these are two areas that some people who are running businesses like that can struggle with. And what I do is I come in and I help them work on those things. I help them build their social media strategy, or maybe I help them with managing those inquiries, quotes, and invoicing so that they've got more clients that are saying yes because you're quick and efficient, and more money, cash flow flowing because the invoices are going out when they need to, right? So you can tailor it. You wouldn't say that to the mortgage broker, yeah? Or the business coach. So you tailor it to what their actual needs would be, so they can, whether they need you or not, it's not a sales pitch. It's about them understanding how you could fit into their world. And so, then, you can say to them, so I work with a whole lot, if you target them, you can say, I actually work specifically with tradies, or you can say to them, I actually work with all different types of businesses, but what I specifically do is help them get their presence online. So there's got to be sort of some area there where you narrow it down so they feel like, okay, what you want them to do is feel like if someone came to them with a problem, they would know whether to refer someone through to you or not confidently. Okay. So at the start, you might actually play around with that. I'm really big on testing things out, like pick something. Don't just pick everything, pick something and see what works. Yeah. Okay. So when we create that one easy solution, it can actually contain, like when we do the Stellar training, for example, we'll look at all of the different skills you have, how you feel about the different things that you have. And there may be one solution there that actually fits all of those in. And previously you might have said, I offer, this, and it's all very lovely, but it's kind of confusing for people, kind of like that horrible price list that I had. I don't even know where I've put it now, that had all of the things on it when I first started up. It's horrific. Or you can go, actually, they all work together really well to provide this. And then that is much easier for people to stomach. Yeah. So still offering the same things, but the way you communicate it is different. Yeah. So when we're doing the VA startup method, we look at all of the things. So we'd say, for example, with this signpost, you've got all of the different things pointing people in different directions, right? And we turn it into one thing instead, so that it's a lot less confusing. You don't have to do everything for everyone. In fact, I highly recommend that you don't. That is super exhausting. When you have a smart solution for an ideal client, you can just walk away from that chaos. Okay. Does that make sense? Yeah. Is that something that you think that you could actually look at with what you're offering right now and start thinking about how you can change that up? Yeah, good. Good. I want you to be able to have actionable steps from today. Mistake number 2 is creating your branding, your website, and your messaging before you actually know what it is that you are landing on. Okay. Oh, the chat's delayed. Thank you, guys. That's awesome. Good. I'm glad. Beautiful. So when you're communicating with everyone about offering all of the things, and you create a business name, a logo, a website, your messaging, and it's vague as heck, you have just wasted time, money, and effort. So mistake number 2 instantly will save you time, money, and effort. Don't do those things until you are ready. You do not do those things first. Okay? You will find creating your brand, message, the colors, the imagery, the business name so much easier when you know who your target market is and how you ease their pain point. And you'll get to a point, it'll take a while in your business to really niche that down and get really clear on it. And that is okay. That is okay. You are not going to come up with the end result straight up, because you do need to try things out, see what works, see what, I remember at the start, I was like, I'm going to offer transcription services. And it is there. It's on that horrible price list that I had, transcription services. And I did it a few times. Turns out I hate it. I hated it so much. And of course, this was back when I had to do it with a cassette tape. so it was a little bit different, but I absolutely hated it. The more so than the whole stop start with the cassette tape and the rewind, more so was people talking over each other, not being able to hear things clearly. It just really, really irritated me. And so after doing that, it's probably 3 or 4 times, I went, oh my God, never doing that again. End of that offer. Okay. And that's fine. That's fine, because I also got to see what it's like. I learned how that gets delivered. Right. So Kat, yes, did transcribing once, hated every second. I would rather poke myself in the eye with a pen. It was horrible. And my jobs leading up to before I did this, and while I started my business, when I was working at Melbourne Park, yes, I was at the info desk. But the other part of that role was the phones. I answered about 7 million phone calls through the different jobs I had in my early 20s. I would happily never pick the phone up again now. Okay. So I would never offer reception services, even though I would actually be very good at it, because I would hate it. Yeah. So there's going to be some things I want you to think about. Okay, what was I really good at in my jobs, or what skills have I developed, being at home with the kids and what have you. When you look at things that you're good at, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to enjoy it and that you're going to want to get up in the morning and do that each day. But you will sometimes not find that out until, you've done a couple of transcription calls and you want to stab somebody. Okay. So I got off tangent a little bit there. Beatrice, yes. Some people love it. There are some people in my VA world who I just go straight to for transcription stuff, and they are amazing at it. And even I believe you can access on YouTube through my channel, I have transcription training on there for free that you can access. I'm pretty sure it's still on there. And I worked with a virtual assistant who unfortunately has passed away since, but she specialized in transcription, and she didn't want to teach anybody, but she wanted people to learn. So she taught me the technicalities of it and the rules, and I ran the training. So we did it together, even though I hate it. So you can still make it work for you. Amber used to be a minute taker. Never, ever again. No transcribing here. I did a minute taking job once that was 2 days long, and it was like 9 to 5. It was a mediation. So it was a legal mediation session. Oh, torture. I charged for every second of it. Yeah, vomit. So some jobs will be horrible, but they create a good story. That's good. Okay. So you don't know what you need to say, you don't know who you need to say it to, and everyone's going to tell you to get a logo, pick a business name, get your marketing out there, and it's going to really, really be a waste. So one of the things we do in the Stellar course is we help you create a LinkedIn profile, because that is about you, right? And you can edit that. You can modify it down the track, but it is actually about you. And it's okay for your LinkedIn profile to be about you and the skills that you bring to the table. So rather than investing now in these logos and websites and all that sort of stuff when you don't really know where you're at yet, it's really good to just get your presence online. You can have a directory listing if you're with the Virtual Eels membership. And you can create a LinkedIn profile and get yourself out there and start networking, communicating with people without, as I said, wasting time, money, and effort. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, one of the areas I specialized in for a very long time doing VA work was websites and some logo design. And I always thought you needed that. You start a business, you've got to get that up and running. And now I'm like, why? You don't actually need it just yet. Okay. At some point, it's good to have it. And some of the best VAs that I know out there never bothered with a website. They had word of mouth. You've got to work pretty well to create that kind of, situation. And I hope you do. But create the website when you're ready. Yeah. And you can run your business name using your name. You don't have to register your name. You need to register for an ABN, and you register that under your name, and you run your business as your name for as long as you need to. And then if you come up with a business name that's awesome and brilliant, you tell everyone, hey, guess what? We've created a new brand and we've got a new look and it's super exciting, and you launch it when you're ready. Yeah. Okay. The only people who are going to tell you otherwise are going to make money out of you from creating your logo and your website. So what you'll do is you'll create something that's super vague. You'll really struggle with your services page, your content, the wording. The only page you'll be able to do is the About You page. Everything else will feel like it's exactly like everybody else's, because it is. Yeah. Beatrice, you can always change your business name. You can, and chat to me about it. You're not a tree. You can move. It's just a pain. Yeah. So what you'll find is when you're really general, you've created all this stuff and it's all very beautiful, but you'll have a lot of website bounces, because people will come on and they'll go, I don't know what problem you solve. Off we go again. Right. So they need to really know straight up when they come to your website, what problem you solve, and is that them? So when it's general, that's not going to happen. You're going to get terrible referrals. You'll get Auntie Beatrice, that's just the last name I said, who refers the old weirdo Gary down the road to get you, even though you're a social media specialist, she's going to say, Gary down the road needs a letter written. Okay. And I've sent him your way. I've given him your address, actually, love. Like, you'll get these terrible, terrible referrals because people won't know what it is you do. Cool. Andrea, yes. Yeah, you don't have to do it all at once. It's fine. Baby steps. As you saw in my little graph, and we'll come back to it later, marketing was the 4th section. Yeah? Cool. Okay. So your messaging will say nothing useful. You'll need to redo it, and then you'll need to rebuild trust in your brand. If you go from your name to a business name, you're not having to rebuild the trust as much, because it's still you. And it's just you going, hey, cool, new thing. That being said, you can change your brand. It's just that you know that you'll have wasted that time, effort, and money. So just looking at what Tani's, hi, Tani. I was struggling with how to come up with a name and branding when I didn't know what I was marketing yet. Exactly. Right. You could call yourself, I don't know. Oh God, I can't think of anything. Yeah, because I don't know what it is that you're offering. Yeah, you will end up spending a lot of time, money, and effort and you'll say nothing. You'll say nothing effective. Okay. So have I turned anybody off creating a website yet? For someone who did website development for 10 years. Side note, if you do the Stellar Virtual Business course, which, as I said, I'll tell you a bit more about later, we have an optional add-on for when you're ready to have a website and a logo created. So not everyone's going to need it. Some people come and do the Stellar course, and guess what they do? Website design. They don't want help creating their website, or they're a graphic designer and they don't want help with their logo. Mind you, I sucked at creating my own. So I'm not ruling out those people, but some people might have, Gary down the road create a website for them. It doesn't matter. I don't want you to have to invest in something that you don't need, but we do make it available for you when you're ready. Yeah. Mistake number 3, working towards someone else's definition of success. And I'm going to tell you now, this probably took me about 10 years before I clicked on this one, because I felt, and I've got a picture here for you. Oh, it's further in, but I felt unwell thinking of success, because I had a whole lot of coaches and stuff who were saying you too could be jet setting around the world and doing all these speaking gigs, or you could be making all this money and you could have all these clients. And I was like, that's not what I want to do. If that's what success is, then I may just sabotage myself, if you don't mind. I'm going to play smaller, because my definition of success was being able to go to the hairdresser without telling my boss that I need the day off and begging and pleading, being able to choose how I roll out my day, being able to decide that I'm going to work 4 days a week, not 5, deciding who I will work with, changing things up when I get sick of stuff, delegating things that I don't want to do. That was my definition of success, right? So doing all those things, I'm like, yeah, all right, I feel really good about that. I'm like, what can I do to make those things happen? Yet if you said to me, okay, well, if you do all these things, you too can be, standing in front of a limousine and being all posh and dressed up and fancy, and you could have 70,000 clients that you're doing one-to-one coaching sessions with for 20K a year contracts. No, thank you, right? I just don't want to do that. And so what I was seeing people putting out as definition of success, Amber, I love you. Exactly right, was making me really hesitant about stepping up to succeed, right? And rightly so. When you know what it is that you want to achieve out of your business, then you will fight for that in the way you want to. You might fight for that in moccasins, because that's your thing, right? How you want to show up each day and how you would like your ideal day or week or month to look is going to be unique to you. So explore that, see what excites you, see what you think. Think about the things when you were employed, whether you are now or not. What were some of the things that really sort of made you feel like, God, I wish I could do that, but I have to go to work today? Or God, I wish I could be working on that project, but Sally got it. What are the things that you just really wish that you could do, so that you can be grateful for them and appreciate those when you create that for yourself? Yeah, freedom, Emma. Yeah, I remember having a job, picking up your kids. That's right, being part of their life and not just an extra add-on, right? Being flexible when required, being there for kids are a big one. Yeah, I pick up my kids from school every day. I don't even think twice about it. Yet I know so many people whose kids are in after school care and before school care, and they don't see them anything beyond the quick eat a meal, have a bath, go to bed, right? I get to enjoy my annoying little turds for many, many more hours every single day, right? And yeah, not feeling guilty and asking permission all the time. Ugh, yuck, right? I remember years ago, I would have been in my early 20s. I started my business up when I was 24. And I was in my early 20s, driving along in my Datsun 200B, and I was off to Officeworks. I was the office manager, and I was off to Officeworks, and I was like, how nice is the weather today? I'm in my car, I'm driving to Officeworks, which never gets old, and I'm happy, right? I'm like, this is the life. I'm happy. I'm out of the office and I'm enjoying the sun. And then I had to go back in the office, and I was like, oh, there's no windows in here. This sucks. And then my boss said to me, guess what Officeworks now does? Online orders. You won't have to go and get it. And I was like, no. I will always need to go and pick up the Officeworks order, because that little glimpse of freedom that I had was being taken away. And I knew then, I was like, I just need that ability to just go out for a drive in the sun. For me now, it's a walk in the sun whenever I feel like it, when I need it. And that's worth, to me, thousands and thousands of dollars. I just want to see what the comments are. Better work-life balance with that flexibility. Yes. Being able to get my kids and do after-school activities, attending appointments without having to try and manage it with work. A lot of people, actually, slight segue there, a lot of people who end up setting up virtual assistant businesses, and this is something I'm super passionate about, have come from workplaces that are toxic. So they've come from bullying situations or just really toxic environments that have really kind of eaten away at their confidence. And all they want to do is to be able to avoid having to explain where they are, when they're going to be, to people who are treating them like crap, right? And they want to get away from this environment that is obviously massively detrimental to both their physical and their mental health. Then, oh, Lisa, I'm so happy for you that you've changed that. I'm so happy for you. It takes guts, yeah. But then you need time to process that as well, because they've fucked you over, right? And it's shit. And then what happens is you go, you know what, I'm taking control. I'm going to be doing this thing. I might be a little bit shattered inside because they did these things or said these things or created this environment, but I'm going to do something really, really ballsy. And so what I want to do is actually back those people, because you're in a situation potentially, not necessarily you, Lisa, but potentially where you're feeling really vulnerable, but you're doing something that is super ballsy. So it takes guts, right? So Claire, I quit my job completely, never thought I could do it, but now I need a plan. Yeah, taking control back. I think that's amazing. And it's scary, terrifying, all of the things, but it's way less terrifying than staying in an environment that is, you know, awful for your mental health, which ends up being awful for your physical health. Yeah, beautiful. The other reason why people come through to start up a virtual assistant business, obviously there's a lot of reasons, but these are the ones that I'm super passionate about. They'll either have it might be a mental health situation or condition. So they might have post-traumatic stress disorder or depression or anxiety, or bipolar conditions where it's super hard to have a job with any of those conditions. Really, really hard. This is why I started. I had post-traumatic stress disorder, ended up with depression long-term, right? Really hard to navigate a job when you're dealing with that. And then people with chronic health conditions that are not necessarily mental health, although they often end up partnering, or supporting children with special needs, whatever they might be. So they're like, no, I need this flexibility. I need this freedom, because for me, it is pretty much life or death. It's about supporting my child who has these extra needs, or it's about supporting me so that I don't completely lose my mind, right? And so you're in a situation where you are feeling like, oh my God, I'm just trying to, hold on. And you're doing something that's terrifying, and hats off to you. I think it's the bravest thing in the world. And that's something I'm really passionate about and something I really want to be focusing on in the future. Beatrice, yeah, beautiful. And if you ever want to reach out about that sort of stuff, yeah, massively want to support you. So reaching for the wrong definition of success, just moving along, is you'll procrastinate. You'll avoid doing what you need to do. You'll sign up for that thing that tells you that you're going to be a six-figure VA next week, and you won't do any of the things they tell you to do because it doesn't feel right. You'll stress. You'll just exacerbate the stress that you're already feeling by leaping out of what you've come from into something new and terrifying. And you will, as I said before, you will self-sabotage. You will absolutely do anything, whether you notice it or not, to avoid succeeding. So if we do work towards a success that doesn't feel right, and we go, I'm going to do it anyway. I'm feeling sick about it, and it's not the good sick, it's the bad sick, but I'm really going to struggle with clarity. I'm going to judge myself against everybody else. I'm going to have comparisonitis. That's a whole big thing too. It's hard. Try to stay in your own lane and make your lane beautiful and you. And it will affect your confidence, because you're pushing, excuse the term, but you're pushing shit uphill because it's not even your shit. So it doesn't feel right. But when you look towards things that do feel right, like what I said before about that freedom, about making choice, about, being able to avoid the guilty crap and hang out with the kids and do the things that you want to do, you'll be excited. Like, even my body language talking about it changes. You'll be excited. You'll get more ideas. You'll be able to take action quicker. And yeah, you'll feel sick, but it'll be the good sick. Okay. You're going to feel sick anyway. Emma, chronic pain. Yes. So hard to answer to someone when you're forced to explain your pain and they can't see it. They cannot see it. There are so many invisible conditions that they cannot see. And you're just like, no, truly, again, today, I feel like shit. I am in pain or I am uncomfortable. I used to run a program called chronic, what was it called? Chronic pain self-management. Chronic pain self-management program. It's one of the most awesome programs I've ever run in my life. And this is when I was working in the disability sector and I was supporting some allied health workers. And they decided to run this program. And I went, me, I'm going to help you run it. And I loved it. And I got to meet people who had, all of these invisible conditions and they're physical. Some of them came along and they were dealing with bipolar disorder. So for them, it wasn't physical pain, but it was a chronic condition that they had to manage and they had to come up with strategies to manage it. And then there'd be other people with nerve damage, back injuries, all sorts of stuff. And everyone needed to, it was all about the psychology of it and being able to support yourself to make each day more bearable. And when you add a 9-to-5 job in the mix of that, where they don't get it and they don't see it, and you're constantly having to remind them of your situation, it sucks. So you want to create a business in those situations. If you have something, even chronic fatigue or anything like that, you need to create a business where you don't have to keep saying, this is my situation. You can speak about it and you can advocate about it, but you don't want to be throwing excuses all the time for not showing up. So you create a business that is not time sensitive. So for example, when I was doing the website stuff, it didn't matter what time of the day I did it. Okay, I was suffering from migraines a lot of the time. If I was out for the day with a migraine, yes, I wouldn't necessarily return a call or whatever, and that's not ideal, but I could get onto it in the evening. So by, if I felt better, the next day I could work on it. And pretty much never did I tell a client, I'm going to be working on your website this day, this day, this day, and this day. I would never do that. I'd just be saying, okay, end of next week, we'll check in and see where we're at. Yeah. So I've got that flexibility and I needed that. So create something that's like that. Because if you start doing reception services and you are going to have excuses all the time for not showing up, it's not going to be any better than a job. Okay. Alrighty. So when it feels right, you'll have clarity, you'll understand your why, and you'll feel confident. So you can create your own definition of success. And I want to just touch quickly on your why. And this is why I got really ranty in the VAs group this week, was because another VA who is a trainer is shitting all over my big why, which is all about what I said earlier, empowering you to charge what you're worth and to have that flexibility and freedom in the business that you create. And she's telling clients that they should negotiate rates with the virtual assistants in her network. And I was just so angry. And I was trying to work, I'm like, I know I'm angry because that's just ridiculous and blah, 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 blah. And then it twigged on me. I was like, oh, hang on. That shits on my big why. That's why I'm taking it so personally, because her doing that doesn't necessarily affect me personally. But my whole purpose, everything that I do in my business is to lead towards that. And so having a big why, and some people think their big why is their kid. And having kids is definitely a reason for starting up your business, but it's not your big why. Your big why needs to help you make decisions in your business. So this person's asked me to be a speaker on their podcast. Is it going to improve the reputation of Australian virtual assistants and encourage business owners to pay what VAs are worth? Yes, then I'll do it. No, I won't do it. Really easy to make those decisions. So have a think about what could be your driver that you're going towards. It's a nice long-term goal. If you finished up your business, I would hope to have achieved this, and it will help you with making decisions in your business. Beatrice, yeah, lovely. I've been a bit ranty the last few days, but people like it when I get ranty because I get ranty on their behalf, so it's okay. So I want to ask you, do you want to launch your business without getting stuck down the rabbit hole of all of the technology, all of the different software programs, offering a vague service offering to all of the people that have businesses? Do you want to actually narrow it down and start thinking about, okay, what is the pain that I ease? How am I going to deliver that? Who has that pain? Yes, Lisa, I love it. Beautiful. Yeah. and feel it like, yeah, actually I do want to do this, and I want to do this in a way that isn't all over everywhere. I remember one VA who I love to pieces, and a lot of the VAs who I love to pieces, we've gone through stages where we're like, all right, I get called the evil penguin sometimes, because I'll call you out when you're doing something that's self-sabotaging, and I will do it with love. And she was spending days looking for free software programs to do her bookkeeping in. And I'm like, that's 2 days worth of income just gone, so that you can find a shit free program that you will only stay in for a little while because it's free and it's only limited in what it can do, so that you can then offer your services. Like, don't waste your time worrying about cutting corners. Yes, budget is going to be an issue at the start, so you need to be smart and strategic. But with that, I'd be like, all right, fellow VAs, what was the best program that you have out there that I can either trial, like what Amber said before, can I trial it? Or that I can have up to 3 clients with that's free? Or do you know of a Excel/Word template that I can use for my bookkeeping until I'm at a point where I can afford a proper software program? And people will know, they'll give you advice. 10 minutes later, you've got your solution and you move on. Yeah. Getting stuck down the rabbit hole is for being busy for the sake of being busy. And that will impact what you're worth per hour. Okay. I would rather you work your ass off for 1 day a week properly than do vague crap 5 days a week. You'll achieve the same outcome, but one of them you'll have 4 days off and the other one you won't. Right? Cat, yep, happened to me. They wanted to pay max $4.50 per hour because that's what they paid for their Philippine VA. So why should they pay more? So if you haven't read the blog post that I launched yesterday, please go and have a look at it, because it answers that. You need to be offering more than what Filipino and Indian VAs are offering. They will do the doing. And one of the most frustrating things about working with them, even though they are lovely, is they will say yes to everything, even if that's a big fat lie, because culturally that's what they need to do, right? So we can't understand that because culturally that's not how we roll. And I've spoken to a few of them about that. I'm like, you do understand that for us, that's horrifyingly dodgy, right? If I say to you, can you jump into Kartra and send out these emails, and you say yes, and you don't do it, you don't show up, and you just run off because you're like, shit, I don't know how to do that, or you just like, I don't know what solution you'd come up with, you've just wasted my time and you have blown my trust, right? So that's a big one. And I don't know why I do. Culturally, that's why they do it. It's really bad for business. The other thing is, for the majority of them, they struggle with room for interpretation on a job. So when clients are saying to you, why should I pay more? Well, if the job has no room for interpretation and it's just, you say, do step 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's it, and you don't want any feedback, streamlining, ideas, opportunities, or anything like that, then yeah, you know what? Go offshore. Because if that's what you're offering as a VA, you will not make it. You can't. As an Aussie VA, you actually need to deliver more than just the service. You need to be able to say to them, actually, did you know there was a better way you could do this? Or did you know we can automate that? And I know that means I'll be out of a job, but we can automate that for you. And when you do that, they'll come up with another task for you, or they'll be an awesome referrer because you're helping them grow, and not just for yourself. You actually want them to grow. You'll look at opportunities that you see out there because you're actively looking for opportunities for yourself as a business owner, which offshore don't do. So you'll see potential connections and collaborations, and you'll be able to introduce them to your clients. You'll be part of a network where you can tap into more sources, resources, skills, advice to then support that client as well. So there's a lot of things. And also you'll be the eyes and ears that they can bounce ideas off and vent to and celebrate to. These are things they don't get offshore for $4.50 an hour. If they want those things, and trust me, some people really, really do, they will not bat an eyelid when you say that you're $50, $60 an hour. Okay. You're welcome, Kat. But if you're offering what VAs offshore are offering, go get a job. It's not going to work. So I want to talk to you about the VA startup method. Okay, the first section we look at is you. So playing to your strengths, understanding how you respond to situations, how you best communicate, how you receive information. Have any of you done any of the personality tests and stuff that are out there? So I know, yeah, there's 2 that we send people through to in the Stellar course. Beatrice, which one did you do? Did you do DISC? Because I never understand the acronyms people throw at me for DISC. They go, I'm a B1, B2, and I'll go, oh, okay, that's cool, right? I actually would be a B1, B2. Yeah, there you go. She did DISC. Very interested to do so. There's some really cool ones out there, right? And the right ones, so the ones that we've shared in the Stellar course, there's a crystal nose one, I think, and the other one is just called the lion, otter, beaver, golden retriever test. All right. And they hit the nail on the head so hardcore. And it's really great because then you look at what your strengths and your weaknesses are. And in business, you need to know both. And your clients need to know both, because your clients, when they know their weaknesses and you are that weakness, they bring you in to fill that gap. One thing that I'm always telling my kids with school stuff, I'm like, if you are not strong in that area and it doesn't interest you, I don't expect anyone to flog you about that, because when you get out in the real world, you'll find someone to fill that gap. It's called teamwork, right? And it's called showing up and doing things that you love and that you want to keep learning about. And they don't do that at school, and that sucks. They want you to know a little bit about all of the things, and it will be frustrating. But in the real world, you will get someone else to do that for you. And same as a virtual assistant, you need to outsource stuff that you are not good at. Okay. You need to practice what you preach, because letting people into your business is an experience that you need to experience so you understand it for your clients. Bernie, I don't really remember them, but I have done them once with personal development training through jobs. Yeah. So they can be very helpful. The other thing is also learning about the different personality types, and the golden retriever, otter, beaver, lion one is great for this because it's so simple. You can go, oh, Rosie's a lion. So when I'm going to send information to her about the way I can support her, she's going to make a decision quickly. She wants to know that it's going to make her look good. It's going to solve her problem now, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be vibrant, and all of those things. And she will say yes. If I send her a novel explaining how it's all going to work, and then I give her 2 weeks to get back to me about whether she wants to do it or not, she will not sign with me. Whereas if I go to someone who's a golden retriever, I need to give them all the information, and I need to give them time to read it, take it on board, and make their decision. Okay, so this is really, really valuable information. Tani, you got to tell me what my ones are so that eventually I stop saying B1, B2. So it will give you a head start when you start thinking about how you can connect with job leads. The way that they first show up for you, it will give you a lot of clues as to how they're going to make the decision about who they want to work with. So what we need to think about within ourselves is what skills we bring to the table. We need to think about what our strengths are. We need to think about what our weaknesses are. As I said, own it. It's fine. You don't need to do all the things that you're weak at. Don't sit there spending time on those. And we need to think about how you tick. So working out, okay, if I'm having a really shitty day, why? And what are the things I can implement to make this better and turn it around? Self-awareness is so important when you're self-employed. Okay, I cannot underestimate this enough. So the other thing too, when you understand how you work, how you react to things, how you need to feel supported, it will help you set up your boundaries and your limitations and how you're going to deliver your service offerings. So like we touched on before, some of you will not be offering stuff that's time sensitive, and you need to set boundaries around that. Yeah. And this is why, because you matter. You totally matter. You're pretty fucking VIP. Okay. I want to introduce you to a few people when I run through these, because you're going to be like, well, if her course is so good, why doesn't she have any testimonials? Well, hey, turns out I do, right? So Corinna Price Davies did my Stellar course when it first started up a few years ago. And this is what she said. I'm going to read it out. Hopefully it's not boring. If it's boring, tell me to shut up. She said, I didn't know where to start when I first decided to start my business. I knew I had all the skills and the knowledge, which is awesome, but I had loads of questions about working remotely, finding clients. It was all very scary. 3 years on, and this testimonial was actually given to me over a year ago, and she's still absolutely rocketing it. She emailed me today, actually. She's awesome. She's grown a successful business with the help and knowledge she learned from the Stellar course. She has a confidence in herself to make anything work with the right mindset and the methods that she learned. And she is someone who is just running a business that offers what lights her up. And she's, fully booked out. She's got what she needs to make the business work for her. As you can see, she can afford to get professional profile photos done. That's always nice. And she's doing beautiful things. If you ever want to reach out to her, so that was Corinna Price Davies. Anyone that I put up here, you can reach out to and ask them for feedback. And she runs Open Door Business Solutions. So I'm conscious of the time. If I'm talking too fast, let me know. If you're running out of time, let me know. The second module we look at is offering your skills to services. A lot of people would just say, okay, what services are you going to offer? And that's like the hardest question they can ask, right? What does that even mean? If you say to me, I'm going to be, a lot of people will come up and they'll be like, these are my skills, so I think these are going to be what I offer. And it doesn't actually make sense in the grand scheme of things. It's just a whole lot, like my price list the other day, it's just a whole lot of different little pieces of nothing. And it's not helpful for your marketing. So talking about your skills doesn't get you clients. You need to think about what problem you solve with those skills, and then who has that problem. And again, it'll be test and measure, test and measure. You might say, okay, I think coaches have this particular problem. I'm going to start appealing to coaches, see how they react to what I'm throwing out there, measure that, see what's working, and just do the reconnaissance, check it out and see what people say. Okay. Don't ask people who are not people you want to work with what they think about you or your business, because who cares what they think? It's really not important. I find it really interesting that people will ask, their cousin Barry what he thinks about their website, which is targeting female coaches who specialize in writing books. It doesn't make any sense. Stick to your target market. We can't jump up and down saying, I can type, I'm really process driven. So it's really cool that you are and that you can do those things. Nobody cares. Okay, so what we do is we convert those skills. We take all of the different skills, and one of my super strengths is hearing what your different skills are and thinking about ways that they can be turned into a solution, and potentially who might have the problem that matches that solution. It's one of my superpowers. So I'd want to be able to support you with that. And there's a process with that. We have a workbook that helps you work through it as well. So you want to be able to market a solution to people, not just a bunch of skills, not just your strengths. Okay, they need to be packaged together. Okay, I want to introduce you to Sam. Does anyone here know Sam McFarlane from Sam Says? If you don't, start following her on social media. She's a social media strategist, and she is one of the nicest humans you'll ever meet in your life. I started working with her years and years ago. And she's written here, before I met Rosie, I was really confused. I thought that I wanted to have a VA business where I could help any business owner with anything they wanted, right? Exactly what we've been talking about. Through working with Rosie, I was able to realize that my strengths were in marketing, and it made more sense to focus on that and create a niche offering. So I went from a generalist VA wanting to help anyone with a business to a social media strategist focused on a done-for-you social media management service. It was easier for her to work out who she could help and who she couldn't help. Referrals started coming in, and she is now able to rely on referrals because she is the go-to person in this space, because she niched it down. And it was a process. It was an awesome process, but it was still a process. Okay. Third section, foundations. So I wouldn't bother with foundations until I had an idea of whether my skills could be turned into a service. Okay. Because you don't want to go and get insurance. You don't want to create your business name. You don't want to create templates and invoices and all those things if there's nothing there that you can offer. Okay. So wait. It's okay to wait. This is way blurrier than it should be. These are a lot of the different areas that you look at. Picture this really clear. I don't know why it's so blurry. Agreement documents, setting your boundaries. This is really, really important. Software programs, making sure that you've got copyright or trademark wherever required, making sure you know how you're going to get paid, where the money is going to go, how you're going to manage that and measure that. Your insurance, if that's what you're going to set up, SEO, goal setting. There's actually heaps more things on there. I don't know where they've gone. But there's a lot of things that you do to set yourself up with foundations to make sure that when a client does come in, you have a really nice onboarding process. You will constantly evolve this process, and that's okay. As you learn, you'll find out that there's certain things that clients do or say that you'll start to go, that's a red flag. And I'm going to put that within my systems. If they say these things or they do these things, I will not work with them. And that's awesome. So I want to introduce you to Leanne Wolf. She is hugely, hugely, hugely famous within the virtual assistant world. And I am stoked that she was one of my students. She runs Audacious Empires. She was 2IC for many, many years for Kate Toon. If you don't know who Kate Toon is, please check her out as well. She is a copywriting / SEO guru. She is she's in the last few years doing incredible things. She runs amazing conferences. The training is next level. If you want to learn SEO or copywriting, she is the person to go to. And she has big stuff. And Leanne came in and totally whipped Kate into shape. And she made it so, because Kate's like me, she's a lion. So she's like, shiny thing, shiny thing, shiny thing. And you can't be like that without a team behind you to back you. And that's what Leanne was like. So what she said, she actually wrote an entire novel for me, which was awesome, but I'm not going to kill you by reading that out. When she started, she was new to the industry. She also knew nothing. I remember the first conversations we had trying to work out where she fit. And now I get help from her. Okay. Same with Sam. I had a meeting with Sam yesterday to help me with my social media. I fumbled and stumbled and thought to myself, there has to be a better way. And then I found Rosie. I felt like I'd hit jackpot. Knowledge, inspiration, support, and answers. Every question I had, Rosie had answers. Every wobble, a strong scaffold. And that is one of my strengths. Today, I'm a multi-award-winning VA running a business I love. She has staff that come into her. She's got an office set up at the back of her house. She has staff that come in there and work with her because that's her definition of success. So she's made that work for her. She created Audacious Empires and she works with Audacious Empires. She's amazing. Follow her as well, please. She's an online business manager. She also has online business manager training that she's launching at the moment. Actually, she's running a series at the moment. She's just launching a podcast. Section 4, marketing. This is what I said at the start, one of the mistakes. Don't do marketing until you are ready. You can't know what to market if you aren't clear on your offer. But when we get to this stage, you should be clear. You should be able to create a client journey. You'll understand what legal aspects you need to set up, and you'll be able to develop your brand voice. So your brand voice is how you connect with people, how you communicate, the words that you use, some people opposite to me will never swear, very slow talking, articulate. That is their brand. It works really, really well for their ideal client. I highly recommend that you just embrace how you are. Keep it real. It's too hard to not be. And you are amazing. You're the best at being you. How you promote yourself, how you create your website, your social media, your testimonials, all that sort of thing. They will be processes that you'll be able to create because you'll have done those other sections first. Instead of starting with this, everybody starts with this. It's crazy. Okay, so I've removed a couple of slides because I knew that we would be conscious of time. Corinne is the last one I'm going to tell you about who's done the training. Again, another brilliant person to follow. Her e-newsletters are one of the only ones that I read. She always has really good resources and tools in them. I said to her actually the other day that I had this session coming up. I said, I'm going to tell them all that you're having chats with Baz at the moment. Do you guys know Baz from that home show with what's her name? Thingy Kellett. What is it, Amber? You know, I know you know. The Living Room. Yes. The guy who's like your dad, who just renovates everything, he teaches you the tool stuff. He's creating a new business venture. And he reached out to Corinne to help him set up the tech and admin systems, right? Because he's obviously got an eye for talent. She's incredible at what she does. And I'll be honest with you, she doesn't see how incredible she is. So I'm constantly reminding her that she is, because she's amazing. And hopefully Baz will validate that for her. So what she said was, when I started my VA business, I actually had zero idea of the existence of a VA or what the term even was. I was the same. Let me know if that was you as well. I bumbled around in my business for a good 6 months before I crossed paths with Rosie and Virtual Eels. We met at a conferencing event. It was awesome. With so many courses and coaches flooding the marketplace, it's very easy to become lost in the sea. However, the Stellar course stands well above any of the other courses out there. Oh, shucks. She's done the course and found pieces of gold to help her step up in the crowd. It's very cliche to say I wish I had this course when I started, but it would have fast-tracked my business by 12 months easily. I'm glad I found it now because I keep visiting the content on a regular basis to remind myself. And also the content does get updated with new webinars when I think that they're relevant. Okay, final section, scaling. Getting seen by the right people. You may not want to scale, depends on your definition of success, right? So by scaling, it might be turning your service into a service that's no longer one-to-one, but it's one-to-many. Or maybe you'll have systems that you can replicate really easily, or maybe you'll bring on contractors, maybe you'll bring on staff. So there's a few different ways that you can scale your business. When you've created the processes up to this section and you've tested them and it's working for you and it feels solid, then you look at scaling. You never scale until you've got a system that's working for you. Yeah. And so that we would have a look at that, thinking about how you can better leverage your effort. So try to avoid working by the hour, wherever, like charging from the hour. So if you can charge package rates, so much more better. You're not explaining what you're spending every second of your day working on. You're looking at and being more open and honest about the value of the outcome. It's really important not to confuse the value of the outcome with what the value is to non-ideal clients versus ideal clients. This is why you need to know who the ideal clients are, because if it's not important to them, it's not worth much. What you need is to know who needs what you have, who needs it desperately, and who will really, come on board and help and be willing to have you help them and support them solve that problem and pay the rate that you need to charge accordingly, right? So that's where you're making sure that you're scaling as best possible, packaging, creating a team, whatever it might be. Okay. I want you to know that you can create your business. You already, if you implement some of the things I've said tonight already, you can save some time, effort, and money, especially with the sequence of how you set things up. Okay. So the question is, how do you apply this framework to your own business and create your definition of success? How do you become the Stella instead of the Glenda? Okay, you can do this on your own and you can have a look at those processes and think about, because I've explained them. This is the sequence that you would set things up in. A lot of you will have a really good idea of some of those areas because they may even tap into what you're offering for your clients. So, there's things there that you will already know you'll be amazing at, and you'll have your strengths and weaknesses throughout that process, but you might not want someone there to help you move through that, and that is okay. Some of you, though, will be like, nope, I want to have the information. I want to have the extra resources. I want to be able to send Rosie a Voxer message with my questions or an email or a message, and I want to have that support there, and that's what the Stellar course is all about. So let me just touch on the Stellar course. What you get immediate access to if you sign up to the Stellar course is the VA Startup Method. It includes guest webinars from people like Kate Toon, who I touched on before, Dawn Katie, who is all about mindset and looking after your mental health. Jessica Roberts is a branding expert. I'm just about to add another video in there. I think it was around money, very much about money at the moment. So when I run a session that I think would be useful for it, I chuck that in there. It's fun for you guys because the setup is sequential. So when I add something new, the system throws out and forces you back. And I apologize in advance for that, but that's kind of how that works. So I do try to keep it up to date, and also will let you know about sessions that I think will be useful. I do have a session coming up soon, which will be open to everybody. I don't usually do this, but it will be open to everybody, just FYI. I'm going to be having a webinar with Courtney Deegan, who's a pricing expert, and we're going to just nut out this whole pricing situation. So keep an eye out for that. So what you also get is access to our copywriter, who will help you set up a proper LinkedIn page that'll look at the jobs that you've had in the past and make sure that they're described awesomely. You'll have your tagline, which is SEO friendly, and a description there to make sure you sound super professional and alluring to your ideal client. And it's a really good way just to get you online and out in front of people. You can start building your community in LinkedIn straight away. You also get access to the Virtually Yours membership at the top level for 6 months. The top level is usually $55 a month. It's nothing extreme, but you'll get 6 months of that. And the reason being is because the top level gives you access to job leads. And I know that at this stage, job leads are super enticing, important, wherever possible. And I don't want you to have to pay extra for that. With our process, I can see the applications as they come through. I don't look at all of them. I usually just check to make sure that people aren't sending terrible things. But what I can do with the Stellar students is give feedback either before you send an application, so you just send it through to me for feedback, or when you send an application, I can yell out if there's anything I've noticed in there that could be done better or differently, okay? You'll also, with the membership, you get access to the Virtually Yours community, which is the best bunch of VAs you will ever meet. We have virtual co-working days, we have virtual coffee catch-ups just using Zoom like this, and we have regular webinars. It's awesome. So you get to check that out anyway. And I'll send you a copy of my book, Reaching for the Stars, which is perfect accompaniment to the Stellar course. Okay, as I mentioned briefly earlier, you have the optional extra whenever suits you to take advantage of a website setup. It's one of the full one-page websites that has all the information that you need, and the logo creation. So obviously, if you were going to go with both, you would go with the logo creation first, so the person setting up the website has all your brand colors and your look and feel ready to go. That's only if and when you need it. Okay, so the Stellar course, usually it's $1,740 plus GST, or 4 installments, because I want to be able to give you installment pays. They're monthly installments of $465. However, as I said at the start, if you take action, and the action is before Sunday evening, you save a lot of money. So you need to use the coupon Stellar20 and you will get it for $13.92 plus GST, or 4 monthly installments for $372 plus GST. That will expire on Sunday night. Obviously, I've got to tempt you with something. Previously, I had the offer there was the lifetime access, because you get 12 months access to the Stellar course. If you need extensions, you just reach out. It's obviously any extensions are less than paying for it again, but you might not need that. So previously, to get, for the fast action takers, I would do lifetime, but I'm very conscious at the moment that everyone's interest rates on their houses have gone up and all of their bills have gone up. So I know money is more of an incentive at the moment. So, and I know that you will make this money back when you set yourself up properly. Beatrice, no worries. I will send the recording to you. I am just about to finish. I've got like 3 minutes left. The other thing is you have a 7-day money back guarantee. So if you jump into the course and you look at it and you go, oh my God, this is terrible, I don't want to do it, just email me. Just email me, no questions asked. You'll get your money back and we'll just shake hands and walk away. All good. So this is what you get. This is the last slide, Beatrice. 12 months access to the Stellar course, 6-month Connect level membership, regular training is added. You get the VA startup method, Facebook group for networking and support. The Facebook group isn't as active as I'd like it to be, but you can make it more active. But it is where I'll let you know about any updates that we have. You'll get access to templates, worksheets, and workbooks. So templates, for example, your client agreement document, subcontracting agreement documents, pricing increase checklists, your business plan, all sorts of stuff like that. Pretty much everything you need to get you started. You get your LinkedIn profile, a copy of the book, and you can message me anytime via email, messenger, or Voxer. So Voxer is one where you can kind of just leave a voice message. I'll get that and I will voice message back your answer. So my only rule with that is 1 question at a time so that I don't go off on tangent. And then I know that I can answer your question properly. So it's like one-to-one mentoring whenever you need it. Plus, as I said, the option to have the 1-page website, logo development, and one-to-one mentoring sessions with me as you need them. Okay, so I seriously appreciate your time. I know we've gone over time. There's a lot of content, and I hope that it's helped you no matter what. And if you are interested in the Stellar course, please make sure you write that coupon down. It expires on Sunday night. Lisa, no worries. Andrew, no worries. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Wendy. If you've got any questions, thank you, Kiri. Email me. Just email me. I will be checking my emails, obviously, each day. I won't tell you when, because I will not be locked into that. But I will get back to you. No worries at all. No worries, Bernie. Yeah, take action. This is your business. Make it yours. Create something that you're excited about, and don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Okay. All right. That's it. I think we all need to go and have some dessert and then bed. Yeah. No worries, Claire. Let me just stop our recording. For those of you who are playing along at home, message me if you have any questions at all. The same coupon code applies to you and the same time limit applies to you. Hopefully you've enjoyed this session, and I will speak to you all soon if you've got any questions.